Give me a second to get the slideshow square and we'll get started tonight. Hope everybody's doing okay. All right, fantastic. Mohammed, how you doing, brother? Mike, how's it going? Moshi, nice to see you, brother. Jason Burns. Gary, what's up, brother? Happy to see you guys. Appreciate you coming out tonight. It's getting to be that time of year, man. Thanksgiving's in the books, and we are running out of time. And I feel sorry for some people that are writing me. You know who I'm talking about, and I'll talk about it tonight. All right, so look, here we go. We're in the second phase, right? Actually, today's the last day of November. Yes, so next time will be quarter 4, segment 3. The last 30 days of the 90, and we know that's a broken set, man. There is 59 days left, or behind us, 31 days to New Year's Eve. If you can get your head around that. And that'll be it. 22 will be in the books, and time to reset and get it going. All right. So here's where we're sitting at. So I will be here on the 7th and the 14th. And then we're going to be into the holidays. So I guess 2 sessions left after tonight. If you have any requests, any stuff you want to talk about, send me an email, man. I'll try to get it on paper over the next week. We'll figure it out. All right, so listen, a couple weeks left. I know everyone's going to switch into holiday mode. It's just the way it is. So probably be checked out. So I want you to start thinking about what next year is going to look like. You got to start thinking about it now, man. You don't plan next year in the middle of next year. You plan next year in the last month or so going into it. So here we are, right? Right off the bat, okay, I'm probably not going to be in here. I'll probably be back on the 11th. We'll start our new year off right here this week, right? Holiday here. And then we'll start our cycle, right? This will be segment 1, segment 2. We'll map out 12 weeks. Look through here and figure out, do this for me, man. Submit it to me, send it to me. Just take a calendar and scratch one up, man. Put your name on it, send it to me. Figure out where you're going to be, right? If Valentine's is a big deal for you, then you're not going to be around here, right? This is a holiday. I want to say President's Day and MLK Day. I can't remember the order. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm pretty sure it's President's Day in February. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's an off day. All right, if you have any personal stuff coming up, maybe it's your birthday, maybe you're taking your wife somewhere, maybe you're going on vacation, then you're going to lose a week somewhere. You got to figure all that out. You got to map this out. Then you know what you're working with. Okay, so let's just say this is your calendar. Let's say you're going to be off for Valentine's Day. You're taking your wife away for the weekend. Happens to be her birthday the next week, and you're going to scratch out a week. Okay, so now you know out of these 12 weeks, you got about 10 or 11 weeks to work with. So then what we're going to do next year is I'm going to get a calendar and physically mark it up and show you what it should be looking like and how you should track yourself. We'll do that right when I get back here on the 11th, I guess. And we'll start building a plan and we'll talk about trade models. I'm just going to physically do it for you. Some of you guys don't need it, but maybe you'll find a nugget in there somewhere to help push you forward. All right, so I haven't had a quote in a while. I started thinking it was appropriate since we're talking about forming habits. Here's the thing, man. The holidays is a good chance to reset yourself. It's like you're taking a break. Whatever you had going is going to stop. You're going to be tied up with family, doing stuff, shopping, all the typical stuff you do during the holidays. So you do not decide your future. You decide your habits. How do you decide your habits? What you get up and do every single day. Decide your habits, and that decides how your future is going to play out. Right? Use timers. We have too much technology, man. Take your phone. Whatever time you get up, have an alarm. 20 minutes later, have an alarm that you should be doing cardio. Have an alarm that you should be finishing up in 1 hour. And just benchmark yourself and move yourself through it. Believe it or not, I learned this stupid thing from the fire department and didn't even know we were doing it. When we were on scene, they'd start a clock and they would report to us every 10, 15 minutes or so and let us know how long we've been on scene and for us to give them a status update. So like a traffic accident, as soon as we'd go on scene, we'd be on the clock. And they would say, engine 2, 10 minutes on scene. What's the status? And then we'd be like 2 patients trapped, waiting for the helicopter, whatever, an update. 10 minutes later, what's your status? Okay, so I took that, put it into my normal life, and I use alarms, benchmarking all the way along. Like okay, tonight I had to do the DMR. 6 o'clock, I have an alarm that goes off. DMR is in 1 hour. Okay, whatever. Take a shower, get ready, go through my slides. 20 after, another alarm. 6:30, another alarm. That kind of stuff. That stuff, it was weird, and I like always felt very militant. But as I got older, I realized, you know what? It's not so stupid. It's not so bad. And it helped move me along in different ways. Some of you are like, oh, Steve, I can't stand shit like that. Okay, no problem. You're probably really young. The older you get, you're going to be like, man, that guy's not so crazy. Because that's how I was. If I was talking to my younger self, and my younger self would be like, dude, you're nuts. You know, my younger self would tell the old self, Steve, you're freaking crazy. What the hell's the matter with you? Just life, man. Things change. You start realizing stuff's not so crazy. So for what it's worth. All right, that's all I got for lectures tonight. I'm good. Let's look at some shit. All right, 12-week year. Get this book. Brand new guys, get the book. All right. I don't get a commission. I don't give a shit. Buy it, borrow it, go to the library. I don't care. Just get the book. All right, written by Brian Moran. Start setting your goals. All right, so here's some stuff that maybe is going to come off abrasive, but you know, that's how I do. So look, this stuff right here, I don't care about this stuff right here. This long-term goals, I'm going to tell you right here, long-term goals are bullshit. I'm going to tell you why. You need to have some kind of plan in the back of your mind, but until you can put pen to paper and with a working plan, it's a fantasy. All right. If you do not have a working model or something that you believe in, right? You can fantasize all day about, I'm going to buy this yacht, I'm going to buy this bullshit, I'm going to buy that car. It doesn't work. If it worked, everybody has fantasies. If it worked, everyone would be living their best life. What you need for this particular business, and probably for every business, but we're talking about trading here. You need a plan and proof of concept, and it has to be yours, internalized by you, and you got to own it. No excuses, no BS, and no fear. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to do this shit backwards. We're not going to, he talks about layout in his stuff. He talks about laying out your long-term aspirations and goals. That's where I come from. That's fantasy, man. I grew up in the streets of New York. You know, I was talking to my wife about this the other day. I lived in like row housing, man. Nothing special. We moved to Florida, and child house was okay. It was a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, or whatever the hell it was. Nothing special. Just a normal upbringing, man. Blue collar worker. I was a firefighter. Anything is possible. But the thing is, you have to own it and you have to see it in your head happening. And that's why I think this shit is backwards. You need to have some type of plan in place that you believe in and can get your head around. Right? So set your goals. What's a realistic goal? We're gonna do this next year, but I want you to start thinking about it now. That's why I'm talking about it tonight. What's a realistic goal? 10% a week return on your account? What's something realistic that you know you can accomplish? Why? Because I don't want you to say some shit like, Steve, I'm going to do like that last dude you showed me. I make 1,100% by Friday. Well, you know you're going to blow up doing that shit. You got to figure out for you that you can own it and not be afraid to try to execute it. Something you can get your head around. Can you make 5% a week on a handful of trades, risking 1% to 2% in your account? Can you do that? If you can do that, then that's your first target. That's your goal. All right. What would be a plan to achieve the goal? Okay, so we're going to lay it out step by step. We're going to show up at the office a certain time. We're going to execute these pairs. We're going to use this trade, and we're going to take a backup trade if it shows itself. Then we're going to take that daily plan, and we're going to map it out 4 days in a row, 5 days in a row, whatever works for you. And then we're going to see if you have a 3-day win week, a 2-day win week, where the numbers will flesh out using the spreadsheet and stupid common math, right? And then you complete each action weekly, and you map that out for a week, you map it out for 2 weeks, you map it out for 4 weeks, then you project it out for 90 days, and then you have some hard numbers you can get your head around. And you measure yourself on a weekly scorecard. There's somewhere floating around here a spreadsheet I made when this book first came out about how to score yourself for doing homework and your execution. And you don't necessarily need that. We're going to lay it out. To me, if you can get, this is one of those things, if you can get this under control and you start to see it working, then this will take care of this. And that's how it works. That's how life works, man. Benchmarking, right? Okay, you're going to have alarms. You're going to get up at a certain time every day. You're going to show up in the office. You're going to execute 3 trades a day max, win, lose, or draw. That's your execution. You're going to cap your drawdown at a certain number, 2%, 5%. If you hit the drawdown, you're out for the day. Sitting there and keep pulling the trigger to make up for the 2% draw is not the way you get it back. You get it back when market conditions change and the market refreshes the next day and the dealers make a new high or a new low and they show a pattern that's clean. How many times have you taken some shit and knew it was no good, kept pushing yourself, walked away, and the next day you go, man, if I just would have not blew myself up, look at all these setups today. It happens. So you got to own it. That's the thing. And you can't have any fear. This is the biggest killer of mankind and womankind too. All right, so you got to work through your excuses. That's the easiest way to get rid of them, is just work through them. You got to stop with my stock was too tight. I arrived too late. Man, I shouldn't have chased it. I should have waited till Wednesday. The dog ate my computer monitor. Just the typical bullshit that you tell yourself. You got to set it aside. It's just mental, man. The entire business, your entire life is one mental shift. Everybody is one mental shift away from the things they want. This is the biggest thing. You got to work through all your internal fears, man. Burn out your excuses until they cease to exist, till they're no more. Okay, if you're trading at a successful rate, but you're trading small lot sizes, okay, why? What the hell are you waiting for? There's money floating around in these qualifying accounts. There's people in the group having enormous success. There's a handful of guys that ask me not to post. I'm not even posting their stuff, but people are getting paid, man. What is going to be different for you this coming year if you don't sit down and map some shit out and make something happen? You're going to sit here and listen to me. I always joke around with my wife that I feel like a minister, because tonight I get everybody pumped up, they're excited, and that shit wears off in about an hour and you're committing crimes again, right? You come to church on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern and you feel great, you're excited, and then by Friday I got to bail you out of prison. I'm joking, but you know what I mean. You got to figure out what's going to be different. You know, there's a small nuance, and it's a mental shift that you have to make. And you have to be afraid of not winning instead of being afraid of losing. And I don't know if that makes any sense to you, right? It sounds like semantics, right? But it's a subtle change in your mental state, and it affects your behavior, right? And I use the fire department, my experience. I went through a lot of shit on that job. And when I say like a lot of shit, it was like, I don't know, eye-opening, adrenaline type, life on the line type of stuff. And it just gives you a different perspective. I had a lot of people die at my hand and a lot of people live at my hand. And it's I don't know, man. It's just different. It's crazy. And when I was younger, I didn't appreciate what was going on, the gravity of it all. And I have more of appreciation for it now. You know, I have a lot of friends that were on the job that have mental problems, mental issues. I have some friends that committed suicide over it. It's sad. So it takes I don't know what the right word is, some type of compartmentalizing or blocking stuff out. And for some reason, I've been able to do that pretty much my whole life. I have some images that absolutely will not go away. I don't know if the right word is they haunt me. They appear in my mind once in a while. So for whatever reason, I'll see something or smell something and it'll remind me of a particular incident where it wasn't so great. But anyway, the difference is mental. Everything in this world is mental. If you're afraid of losing, you're probably going to lose. You have to be afraid of not winning, not taking the next opportunity. It's a subtle shift, and I can't explain it. It's like the difference between rappelling out of a window, afraid, and then after you do it, you're not afraid anymore. That's why we got to build a comfortable model that fits each person, tailored for you. We'll walk through it together, but it's got to be your model. And you can't be afraid of it. You can't have any excuses. You just got to execute it. It's got to be so easy for you to see and comfortable, and the stop numbers have to work, that no matter what happens, you're bulletproof. You just keep working through it. I don't know how to help you guys make the mental shift, but I'm gonna lay out the best that I can to the knowledge that I have from working with you guys and being in the business for 20 odd years. And we're gonna find a spot for everybody somehow. All right, let me look at the comments and then I'll move on from here. If you got any stuff, post it now. Okay, I got fear from doing homework to be shitty, but I did it anyways. What's the worst thing that can happen? That I tell you suck. Well, you don't suck, but yes. What's the worst thing that can happen? The problem is that we all grow up with these societal, I don't know what the right word is, values or expectations, and we're afraid to put ourselves out there. I know that's why a lot of people don't send me shit. Expectations, or the thing is like, you're worried about some shit marking up a chart, sending it to me, and I don't give a shit. I'm going to look at it and go, it's either right or wrong. And if it's wrong, I'll show you how to improve it. And if it's right, I'll put, what do I do? Put a gold star on it. What do teachers do? Yeah, it is all based on ego, man. There's no doubt about it, right? Afraid to be wrong, right? So afraid to be wrong that you do nothing instead. But in this business, it's crazy. I showed you, what, 50% win rate, still making money. All right. Positive action. That's going to be the theme for next year. Okay, so I talked about this. This is what happened to me, man. Last week, I didn't show up here with no math. I dumped the slide somewhere. It wasn't in my presentation, so I got to give you the follow-up on this. All right, when I'm making these slideshows throughout the week, I write a little bit, I walk away from it, and I have different versions floating around. Like, it's uploaded to a cloud, and I open it on my laptop and close it. I don't know what happened, so no excuses, all right? But anyway, I wanted to follow up with this. When I was talking about cutting the lot size, or the raising the lot size and cutting the stop size down, there was supposed to be this spreadsheet in here that I wanted to talk about. So this guy was doing, I don't know if he's here tonight, but if you are, say something, Steve. 100,000, 1% risk, 15 stop, 30 pip target, right? I just want to follow up with this. So we talked about taking the same 100,000, same risk, and cutting this down to 10, right? So if you we're talking about cutting 5 pips off the stop loss is a game changer, because it allows for a greater than 50% increase in lot size from the beginning, right? And it increases cash on cash return exponentially, right? So if you go back and look at this, he's starting, okay, so let's go back to the original one. He was doing 1532, right? This is the 2R system, by the way. And his lot sizes, right, are 6.7. If you remember, he had 6.6, and it goes all the way up to like 10. He had like one block or so, block and a half. Okay, he gets up to 9, 10 lots. Actually, he had more than his block. But anyway, if you cut it down, you take away the 5 pips, his initial lot size is 10. These are minis, by the way, mini lots. He's at 10 minis or 100 minis, 10 lots. So starting with 10 lots and you project that out in blocks of 10, right? The difference from the first trade to trade 10, this comes in 119,000 and this one comes in at 130,000. So that's a 30% return on equity versus a 19% return on equity. Safe to say it's almost double. Okay, and then you take the next block. When you start projecting that forward in time, right, he's looking at, on the 2-to-1 system, he's looking at 145 by the end of 20 trades on block 2 versus 175. That's a $50,000 difference. It's crazy. That's why no matter what you're doing, you got to assess yourself and make the adjustments. Man, if you shave off, if you're 15 and you go down to 12, that just 3 pips is going to affect the lot size by some number and increase them faster. The thing is, it's just math. But if you don't put it in the spreadsheet and plug it in and see that it's just math, you're never going to understand. You're never going to know what's possible. So going through his trades, right? We went through in his draw, right? His drawdown, he had enough trades in here that if he changes this to 10, there might be 1 or 2 that would have got stopped out, but he would have saved 5 pips, which allowed him to increase his R values to a 3R system, right? 3R, 3 risk reward, right? I know people say, like, they say 1 to 3. I don't know why. I grew up like it's 3 to 1, 2 to 1. Everybody knows what the hell I'm talking about. I say these numbers in reverse. But people say 1 to 3 system, risk 1 to make 3. I guess that's more technically correct, but it just doesn't flow to me. So anyway, the idea is to do 3R, 2.5R by a small little adjustment. All right, so I wanted to clarify that. I'm sorry that went down like that. Anyway. But anyway, I can't remember who saved me on the math, but I appreciate it. All right, so we talked about you cut 5 pips off, stops the game changer, allows for greater than 50% lot size, and the cash on cash return is huge. All right, so got some submissions, some charts. Let's pop quiz it up a little bit. We'll wrap it up. I'm going to try to keep it down to 45 minutes the next couple nights. I know everybody's busy, man. I know, me too. Got Christmas decorations going in, shit going on. Excited. Kids are getting close to being out of school, all that stuff. It's just that time of year. Everybody's busy, a lot of shit going on. I know people that are struggling are having some stress this year. Just hang in there, man. It doesn't matter. All this stuff doesn't matter. Just be happy, make the best of it, and make next year better for yourself. Figure out what it's going to take for you to be better. And I don't care if it's 10% better, 5% better. If you make improvements and you build on that, that's how you get better in life. It's small adjustments to your habits and your behavior. I know a lot of people, I keep getting emails saying they can't believe the year is ending. What are they going to do? That kind of stuff. And listen, I've been doing this for a long time. It never fails. It's the same shit. I said it last week, like, as soon as people realize Thanksgiving gets here and they realize there's 5 weeks left in the year or some bullshit, whatever it is, when you say there's 5 weeks left in the year, there's really like 2 weeks left in the year, because a week of it or so you're out of work, then you get the break from Christmas to New Year's. So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, there's about 2 weeks left in the year. By the 15th or so, everybody switched into Christmas mode. Okay, so I'll put the chart up, mark it for a minute. We'll talk about it. Just what I want you to do is tell me everything you see. Tell me what's going on. What do you think? Where's a good trade? And if you want to mark each one, that's fine too. I'll put it up for a minute. You're ready to go. All right, what do we got? Let's walk all the way back to the left. Okay, so if Carr was here, he'd be proud. That's a valid anchor, right? W on a blueberry. Okay, so look, that's your W formation. Okay, we're going to box stuff in. We're going to box out this, and we're going to box out the apex, right? Why? Because it looks like an A. Okay, there's that airspace in there. Okay, we're looking for the next level flip. Okay, price breaks above, closes decisively, hooks back into, that's an entry. Price runs up. If you held this for a couple days, this would be your weekly low. And this is good for a couple of days, right? Day one, I can't see where the tracer switches over. Day two, into a flat print. Okay, that's probably all she had to offer, or it had to offer. Sorry. I got to be careful. I don't want to get canceled. All right, so look, this is a great trade. That to me is officially a bounce trade. There's the crossover, price goes up, railroad tracks on the Mayo, right? In line with the higher time frame, moving averages. All right, you get the pullback, you get a nice vector move, market starts going vertical. End of day. All right, that's a good TP. You got 1, 2, 3 pushes into the high, end of day, flat print, time to get out. And if you got out here, nobody would blame you. All right, because this print is almost identical to this print. You just have this bigger vector bar right here. But there you get that sideways consolidation, but then you get one more push going into the day end. All right, they come out right at the open. They make a nice little move right over the daily open or the tracer right there, and they run high. Print an M, and they stay off that area, right? This area becomes blocked, right? Just imagine the book in your mind. They're trading below that. They're off the area. You're probably going to get a push down or a pullback, right? So if you look at day one, day two, what's the anticipated move? Probably a move back down to here. I'm just eyeballing the entire leg up, 50% of it, right? 50% retracement on day two. And it also happens to line with the blueberry moving. So it makes sense. Then from here, you got to box it out and look for the next move. So you literally can take this, box it up, box this up, stretch it out into the future, box up the high swing. So what has to happen? If price breaks above, this is old, we already know what it did. If price breaks above, it's got to get above, retest into the lows, and then it's got to get to here. When it gets to here, you got to get a close above and higher price, or you're going to get a rejection and then sweep back across the book and take out the lows and then do that. That's the options, right? And then when price starts ranging in here, you can rebox this right here, coming out of the open, right? There's the London high, London low, right? This would be the nadir. This would be the M formation. The problem is you got two levels there, right? So this is, look, this is, I'm not just talking about now. I'm just talking about anytime you see this, this is how you handle it. Okay, so one of two things, right? It hits the Mayo, it's going to W and come all the way back across and go higher, or it's going to do this, test and move lower. And we're looking at a rough target of about there. That's how you trade that. It's simple. Okay. He's got a sell side over here. He's got his TP here. It's okay. He's counting his pushes in here. This is all good stuff. Okay. You need to look at the intraday mapping, and then you need to look at the general picture of everything going on. All right. Everybody got this? Any questions? All right. Same thing. Do it again. Another chart. Ready? Go. All right, what do you got? Mohammed, explain please your question. All right, so what do we got? We got a sideways print. Okay, so we're going to look at swing points, right? We're going to box this thing up. What do we got? We got a swing point here and here that stayed pretty close, rejected off the same area twice. We got a tight one here. We got these. All right, so you could box these up, right? There's the tracer. Listen, when you see these tracers, these blue tracers, you could just turn those into boxes, man. I've said this 100 times. Take the blue tracer and just mark it. Take yesterday's tracer and the day before's tracer. Let's say it's Wednesday. Take Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday's tracers and box them all in and stretch them out. You'll be surprised how they make little tiny areas on the chart, areas of interest. Okay, so the question was back here, there was 3 Asian boxes there, but I counted 2 because you got a push here and a push here, right? And this is a continuation into the high. And then you're trading off of the high, so now you got a flat print, right? So 1, 2, this could be 3, either way. Let's say it's not, but after 2 pushes, right? 1 straight continuous run, one run, 2 runs. What do we expect? We expect a sideways consolidation, and then the dealer's got to show his hand. I expect a pullback because you got averages fanned out, you got the gator developing. I think the problem with this, look, the gator's developing. I think the problem with this is it's not an exact science and it drives everybody crazy. The thing is, though, is that if you're trading intraday, your focus needs to be on current price action and what just occurred to get some levels. All right, does that make sense? I think you're putting way too much time on trying to count the levels. Just look at what he's showing you at the time of execution and maybe the day before. That would probably cut out a lot of your grief, my friend. You can have a rough idea. Like I wouldn't even look at this chart. I'd be looking at the 1 hour chart for how many days. But to me, like I'll look at the 1 hour chart, get a rough idea. All right, trend has been going up for a couple of days. They got to correct against higher level longs, right? If this is, I don't know, a couple of days, 3 times ADR is achieved or very close, and they're trading off the high as an M, okay, they pulled back. Now they're trading in between both levels. Then to me, the near term concern for directional bias is here and here. Those are the 2 levels that mean anything to me right now. All right, so if he gets below here and does this, then I could take him down to Blueberry, or I can take a measured move from A, right? The symmetry, A, B. This might be 50 pips, and then I can project out 50 pips, A, B to C. And maybe this comes in right around here. You can always project out, man, get a rough idea. This is the stuff I'm concerned about right now. And then the fact that he's been going up for a couple of days, right? Lower level shorts are trapped and he's inducing higher level longs. Then he shows that high side move in Asia and pulls back aggressively. Right? This is a really aggressive move off of this high trap. And then what does he do? The zone becomes blocked. The book is blocked, right? Just in your mind, man, I've showed you 100 pictures of this book map shit. Picture what's going on here. There's a big block of orange right here, right? Just make it up in your head, the pictures. And maybe there's some little orange down here pressing this. But, right, we're rattling in here. But this area, once they go up like that and they pull away, you get those Pac-Man bubbles. They push it down. This area is blocked. Okay, the only way to unblock that area is to absorb into it and go higher. So now you can take shorts off of this blocked orange area and trade it to here or to here. Okay, let me read your question. Okay, yes, what you're saying is correct, but I want you to start thinking near term in the book, right? I want you to picture these blocked areas that I've been showing you for the last 12 months and stop worrying about all this stuff. There's some of it that plays into your decision making, but don't let this steer the whole thing. You have to be reactive to what the dealer shows, if that makes sense. Don't be like, okay, it's going up, I expect to pull back and then higher. Don't let all this play into it too hard. I think it's more important to see what he shows you near term with maybe some weight on this. This should not be the full weight of what he does, right? Because if you remember when they were shifting from higher price to lower price, it didn't matter what the hell your bias was, sell, right? Oh, it's been dropping for 3 days. It dropped for months. They had to correct from higher numbers back down to parity or whatever they were trying to achieve. And if you've been around any length of time, that shit happens always. Every other year, every quarter, they make some big corrections against position holders, right? So if you've been around, you've been around, my friend. So a couple years ago, same shit. When I started trading in 1999, euro and the dollar, euro was weaker than the dollar. Okay, that shit went all the way up. People were freaking out. All the stuff was going on. And here we are, 23, 4 years later, came all the way back down to parity. Okay, so what does that mean? If you were saying, oh, 3 days rise, 3 days fall, whatever, you would have been screwed. Be reactive what the dealer shows you, right? Yeah, 3 to 4 months to correct against the positions. So they smoked out a lot of big holders. A lot of big players got called out, margined out, whatever you want to call it. Anybody that was sweet on euro long at the higher levels, probably out of business now. You drive down Wall Street, there's probably for rent signs in their windows. There's no way they could hold that for months, sustain it with the float and pay the margin on it. They get smoked, man. And it happens a lot. And it's crazy. Those big places don't use stops. Those big firms, they don't have stop losses in. They just have open float. So if they got in margin trouble and they couldn't cover, they're out. They take their position. They liquidate it. And then basically they're out of business. Those guys ain't using 10 pip stops, 5 pip stops. They ain't doing that shit. They just take a position with a couple $1,000,000, and then it doesn't work out, they add to it, take another one, try to average in aggregate. What do you think? How do you think they trade? You think they're taking book flips like Steve Morrow sitting in his basement? That shit ain't happening. It's not what they do, man. They do some forecasting. Euro's been strong, the economy's good over there. All right, I think I'm going to go long euro. Well, they had other ideas. Whoever the powers that be that control that actual shit had other plans. And now you find yourself, if you were long euro when it was big, you're in a lot of trouble. You understand? If you can't cover your margin or come up with the capital to keep your position floating, you're out of business. That's how it works. Anyway, here we are. Okay, so this stuff is important, but I want you to keep in mind the correction they just made over the last couple of months. That's why near term, you need to pay attention to what's going on. When I move, you move. Ludicrous. When he does something, he shows you something, you react to it. When I move, you move. If he breaks lower, retest, you sell him. If he breaks higher, okay, keep in mind where the levels are or where the trap is in the book, right? You're going to have a trap level here, pressing. You're going to have maybe a trap level here and a trap level here, okay, in order, right? Yes, there's the blue tracer. He can break above and trade to the tracer. If he doesn't get above the tracer, draws the rejection and comes back, then you're going to sweep across the book the other way. If you don't get in here, then look for an area where you can get a retest here and get in. And then you got targets here. You can start drawing out these lines, right? These will be some targets. That's easier to do. It's easier to see than to drive yourself crazy. Like, you should be able to walk up to a chart, this chart, for example, and be like, okay, he's been going up for a couple of days. I kind of like it short. The averages are getting fanned out. Let me see what he does tonight at London Open. All right, he blocked London Open. He repeated the high from Asia, and you got a pin here and a pin here. You can like that short all day. No one's going to be mad at you. All right, and if you got short right here, first target, right? Even the blue tracer would be a target. Then this is the decision point. Decision point is hits the underbelly of the moving average, right? Project this out. The average is going to turn when price breaks below it. This is still going to be right where it's supposed to be. And then this is your possibilities. That's a really good, strong possibility if you got in here, right? This would be push 1, push 2, push 3. Get out, you greedy bastard. What else do you need? Pretty much everything. Right? Okay, now he hits here, throws a W on the moving average. He's got to sweep across the book to make anything happen. So he's got to go all the way above, retest here, and go higher. And of course, in here, there's some places he can get turned here, right? Retest it. Maybe at these wicks, you might get some action. And then the target would be the high side, yesterday's swing high, right? Which is yesterday's high. And then you got to get a test for higher price. That's how you make your projections. And you make those projections right at London Open, right at the end of Asia between 1 and 3 a.m., depending on what time zone you're in. That's how I want you to do it. I don't know if that helps, but listen, send me something, mark something up, and tell me what you think. I'll let you know. Put some words to paper. Send me some charts. Don't send me a whole zip folder, man, because I can't open your stuff. Talking directly to you, brother. I can never open your stuff. Send me 1 or 2 charts in line, in text, in the mail. Just drag it and attach it. I'm using Outlook. I've been using Office since it came out, probably. When it used to be on a CD drive and you put it in your machine. Now it's floating up there in the cloud. All right, for real. I've been using Office for a long time. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys are like, what the hell's a CD? It's for music and data. Anyway, listen, just send me something. It's already 45. I'm going to end it tonight. We'll look at more charts next week. I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. You got a couple weeks left. Send me some stuff, man, and start making projections for next year. All right, I'll see you guys. Good night.